you know. So I would invite Jaspreet on stage. Jasdeep, I'm sorry for the mistake. Jasdeep Singh on the stage, and we'll start the session right away. To start with, Jasdeep can give you a 30-40 second introduction, and then he will dive straight away into his session, and I'll wait with you and the audience.
Am I audible? Behind, I'm audible? Hi. Good afternoon. I know it is very tough slot to start in the afternoon, just after lunch. My name is Jasdeep. I am one of the fortunate, I believe, in Indian product industry. I started my career 20 years back in the product space itself in India, when software products in India was not there. So Infosys had a small product unit where we started. So I've seen how in India product has grown over time, and being in a services company, okay, I understand the challenges which product team faces. So I spent my career in doing various roles in product development, product architecture, product engineering, product management, and last 2 years I've been driving the overall transformation for my organization for doing the business agility. So that has been my background, so a lot of learning. So my topic is business agility by design, ideas for product development. So I just want to get a guess in this audience, which areas you belong to. You are from product organizations? How many of you are in product organization? Can I? In product organization, how many in product management? Couple. Product engineering? No? So which area in product development you work with? If not management, not engineering, testing? Marketing? Sales? Okay. So you have this picture. You can recognize what this picture is? This is Starlinks. So I will talk about why I am talking about Starlinks in the context of business agility. Now, all our life as a humanity, we have been taking so many assumptions. Right now, long time back, we had assumptions. Yeah, humanity had assumption that Earth is flat. Right? We had assumption Earth is flat. Then, but Earth is not flat. Right? 2000 years back, we figured out Earth is round. So we had assumptions which got invalidated. Then we had assumptions that this is also assumption that everything revolves around Earth. Right? You read that? The assumption that everything revolves around Earth. Okay. But we figured out, no, it is not true. Actually, everything revolves around Sun. Okay. So, and this was around, maybe we figured this out around 1500s. Right? Then we had assumption that man can't fly. This was also another assumption as a humanity we had. But then in December 1903 we flew. Right? So as a humanity we have been having assumptions and we have been invalidating it. Now as a product development culture or ecosystem or software development in general, what are the assumptions which we make, or what are those false assumptions which we have? Now we heard in the morning Raman talking, others talking about how software industry is changing, how the product is changing. What are assumptions which we feel are the false assumptions? About customer. Do we believe customer knows everything? No, right? But we had assumption so far that customer knows everything and customer will give us spec and will build what customer wants. Right? But that is a false assumption. Customer actually does not know what he wants. And moreover, he articulates it and we assume that we'll understand what he wants. Right? And then we have other assumption that as engineers or architects, we can estimate what is required. We can architect upfront. Right? You agree with me? These are assumptions which we make. Then we have assumption that nothing would change. After I got the specs, after I got everything, nothing should change. Because as an engineer, you said, no, nothing should change. I want scope, I want stability, fixed, nothing should change. Is it a valid assumption? No, right? Now we heard that people talking about that we don't even know how digital is going to evolve. We don't know what consumers want, right? So in the changing era of when the assumptions of, now these are the base assumptions, last 45, 50 years we have been building software on. Now which are not true anymore, right? So this is what the scenario today is. We face these things. Now in your area, if you think if you are leading a business or you are leading team, either it's sales team or engineering team or product management team, what are the challenges which you face in this changing things? Can you say any challenge which you face? Any challenge? Right? So we have built the product, okay, but whatever customer wants, we don't have it. Right? This is a challenge which we have. Any other challenge when we are talking about startups, we want to grow up, we want to make Indian startup product ecosystem as a bigger thing, right? Raman was talking, or I think someone was talking, that our share of revenue in the product space is 2% versus services of 56%. Right? So as a Indian product ecosystem, okay, this is where we are. And then as he's saying that the way we develop product, we say customer always wants something what we don't have. Any other thing which you can figure out, what other assumptions, what challenge you face on day to day? You are doing a product development, you are in a space, maybe you have conflict of priorities. Do you face prioritization issue? Can you give me an example of any prioritization issue? The sales guys who coming shouting loud, you do that? Right? A lot of requests comes because right? So a lot of requests come, the person who comes and says this is what I want, you do that. Right? So these are challenges you face. Now when we talk to a couple of senior business leaders, so what are their challenges? Now as our ecosystem is going, the largest challenge the business leaders feel that lack of alignment. Maybe they are running too fast. Maybe they are the flag bearer, but when they look behind, no one is there. They feel no one is there because they are passionate, they are moving fast, they are aligned, they want the business objective to meet, but maybe alignment is not there. There is a fear they have. Maybe alignment is there, you will know better. And as organizations grow from smaller to medium to bigger, there is a challenge you have. Larger organizations have bigger challenge of lack of alignment. CEO wants something, but that actually, the difference between strategy and execution is huge. This is the biggest challenge which a business leader faces, that maybe I am alone. I look behind, no one is there. And basically it's coming from lack of alignment. Now we know things are changing, times change. By the time product is out in the market, maybe product need itself is not there. Maybe by the time I produce that product, the cost of the product is so high, it is not affordable. Right? Things change, disruption happens. So there is always constant challenge of, are we in the right direction? Right? When I am developing a product, I started with some idea. So is always constant fear that, am I moving in the right direction? Because there are so many forces which are happening outside, which are trying to deflect us. This fear, so the biggest fear is, are we in the right direction? You are with me? Right? Are these challenges you foresee? The alignment and the direction. Now, as we know that things are changing. Now, nature is very, very great example of adaptation. Right? As seasons change, trees change, the leaves change. Nature changes, nature adapts. That's why nature survives. Right? Now, as things are changing so fast, various aspects of things are changing. So unless as a software developer or product development we adapt, we are going to get that. There's no doubt about it. So there's no doubt that we should change. Now, when change is happening so fast and so many things outside changing, so agile is one preferred way. You can say that organization move to agile. Now, I believe all of you believe you are doing agile. Can I, by show of hand, do you think you are doing agile in your product organization? Right? Anyone not doing agile? It is a fashion, isn't it? Everyone is doing agile. Okay, but are you actually being agile? Is your business agile? It is not about you as a team being agile. Is your business agile? So when we say business agility, how fast you are able to make the meet customer requirement in the changing scenario. That is the most important thing. So what is agility? So there is a definition: ability to move quickly and easily, ability to respond to change. Now, if you understand the races, now it is not about only the car. It is not about only the driver. The team which puts which is behind the making it so fast. What happens in the pit stop? How tires get changed? how when to change the tire. So many things make it agile. But it is not about only speed. Now generally it comes to mind that it is about speed. It is about we fast, we flexible, responsive. But this is not what actually it is. It is also about are we resilient. It means it is not we doing a heroism, okay, and being fast. It is not that each time something comes you become fast. That fastness, responsiveness has to be repeatable. Each time that something happens, you should be able to respond that fast. So it is about predictability. Are you predictable? Each time a customer request comes, are you predictable in responding at that speed? So it is not only about being fast, about being flexible, adaptive, responsive, but it is equally important that organizations are resilient. They are predictable, they are efficient and effective. Now I am leading you to business agility. So this is about agility. Okay. Now, as you know, you are doing agile, teams are agile. You believe you are doing agile. But this is how the agility, business agility is defined by McKinsey. Ability to change tactics or direction quickly, anticipate, adapt, react to events of the business environment. It is not about engineering. It is about my team is agile. It is not I have product owner, I have blah 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 and my team is agile. Actually it is about how fast we respond to the business environment. And from the morning we have been hearing how fast the business environment has been changing. And if you are not able to adapt, if you are not able to get a right product or right feature, right request at the right time, it is going to be very difficult for a product ecosystem to survive. Now I have a belief that our pedigree as Indian IT industry is coming primarily from the IT services background. You believe me? Right? So our pedigree is that most of the experience which as the Indian IT community we have actually is coming from IT services background. Right? Raman was talking about that how we were able to replicate something fast. That is services. And then that it reflects that we have 56% share of the services, but we have 2% share of the product business. Now why is that? Because the science of doing the product development and the science of doing the services is very, very different. So there is science behind doing the product development. There is obviously art, but there is a science behind it. So my session today actually primarily is going to talk what is that science which as Indian product community we don't understand. Primarily because we are coming from the services background, services mindset. So whatever customer says, we say okay. We are not able to prioritize. There are so many things which are very, very different. So it is not about software development. So the fundamental difference of how we develop software for the product and how we develop software for the services. So many of you where if you have in your companies, you have both sides of businesses, right? Sometimes you do product and services. Okay, it becomes very, very complicated because the DNA of the product development is very different than services. You will understand why I am saying so. You believe this? This creates a conflict? Because as a services, what do we say? When customer comes, customer says, I want to do ABC. You say, yes, we will do it. Right? So in the product development, we are supposed to lead. We are supposed to innovate and create something new. Services is not how it is. Right? Now, this is a survey which version 1 did, I think last year's survey. So these are for the product companies that the top 2 things which every product company is looking for. How do I accelerate my product delivery? Means what? How do I make sure I make time to market faster? It is between idea to cash. I have idea, how faster I generate the cash out of it. Second is ability to manage changing priorities. Now change is constant, change is going to happen. Right? Gone are the days where we fix the scope, then we deliver that. It is going to change. And somehow, I don't know what you feel, the nature of our evolution of at least Indian IT industries, we don't like those changes. Right? We don't like. Because we are so adapted to making sure the plan happens. Right? We have to plan. We have to follow the plan. Now if change happens, we are not able to follow the plan. Right? This is what our mindset is. So I will get into what are the drivers for business agility. Now you understand the difference between what agility, team agility and business agility, right? There's a clear-cut difference. Okay. Now this is the science behind it. How do you make sure that in the organization, either you are startup or you are a mid or you are large, how do you make sure you bring the business agility? What are those drivers? What is science? How do you do this? Now why I am saying it, because this is what our journey, we have done that multiple products from the current state to where they are nearing the business agility. And it is not a brute force. It is not that we do something and it happens. It does not. There is a very, very well science behind this whole thing. So these are four. There are so many other parameters, but we will talk about four: value stream, prioritization, feedback, engineering practices. Now, let me get into the value stream. So we understand this, that we are in the business to deliver value. Right now, customer is the center of the whole thing. Right. So what is this lean thinking saying? Capability provided by customer at the right time, at appropriate price, as defined by each case by customer. Right. This is what is value. Now, if we are not at right time, it does not deliver value to the customer. If it is not at right price, it does not deliver value to the customer. If it does not meet the requirement, it does not deliver the value. Right? Now, as a lean, how many of you understand lean? You have some exposure to lean thinking. You understand lean thinking? Now, lean, as most of us would know, that lean is started by Toyota. Right? Toyota follows lean principles, lean methodology, and over last couple of decades, lean thought process has started coming into software. Okay. Now, which is okay, because Toyota or automobile industry, manufacturing industry has been very, very successful in adopting lean practices. But do those practices apply to software product business just like that? I'll give an example. Now, if you look at assembly line or look at a values, how cars come out of line. Now, if one car gets delayed, or fifth car gets delayed, or seventh car gets delayed, it is same price. That's why there in the automobile industry, it is first in, first out. Now, in a product business, you can't do that, because every feature which you are building is different. Right? One feature will produce A values, B feature will produce another value. So the way we adopt lean principles in the product development is very, very different. Right? Now, so what is value stream? So this is another lean concept. Value stream is when you pick up. Now we are talking about from idea to cash. From cash to produce cash, we start from idea. Now, what are different steps which organization goes through to convert that idea to the cash? Right now, we are organized our organization into different ways. As I was asking question, product management, testing, sales, marketing, we belong to different functions. And during the course of product development, idea to cash, it passes through, right? The whole thing passes through from various functions, from various people, which has different motives. They have their function priority. Sales has sales priority. Engineering has engineering priority. Testing has testing priority. So value stream concept is that doesn't matter how the organization is. You map all the stages from the idea to final cash one by one, step 1, step 2, step 3. So this is one example where from the idea to rollout, someone has mapped it. Okay, now but you exactly see, I have just picked up those 2 points. Now on the right hand side you see the value addition 9 weeks, cycle time 33 weeks. Now from the idea to cash, this chain has taken 33 weeks to go there. But actually amount of value work which has got is only 9 weeks. Can you relate to this? In our organization, what happens? When you have let us say a product management and engineering, they are separate organizations. Right now, what engineering demands? Engineering demands, give me all the requirements. Then I will start working. Testing would believe that give me entire working code. Then I will start testing. Now, you can imagine how much waste or how much of blockage or waiting time that output has at every state. So, the difference between value addition and the cycle time is primarily the amount of waste or the waiting time which is there in the system. Now, so what? So, we created a value stream. So, what do we do? So, you map all the processes from left to right, then start identifying in these processes. Now, this is across the organization. Doesn't matter it is sales, it is delivery, it is engineering, it is what. Doesn't matter. You put all the steps. Then you figure out that what is the work I am doing in each of these steps. Where is I am waiting, where I am not waiting. Now, in manufacturing, what is the biggest waste you see? You heard of inventory as the biggest waste? Right, in manufacturing, if you go to the shop floor, you see the inventory, the piles of inventory. And manufacturing believes that the inventory is a huge waste, because what may happen if orders become less, that becomes waste. If specification gets changed, that gets waste. Right, so it is very, very visible in manufacturing world. What is the inventory out there? In software, we also develop products. So what is the waste? What is the inventory for us? Any question? Any? Sorry? Developer resources inventory. Okay. So you keep minimum inventory. I will come to that. So you will keep minimum inventory. Now with hardware becoming so cheaper, now we have lots and lots of artifacts dumped in our in those drives, which is not visible. We can't even estimate the inventory which in a software we create. In manufacturing, automobile, very, very visible. Now, inventory is one of those wastes which I am talking about. Okay, like that. Now, in manufacturing, say there are 7 types of waste. So, in software, we will have a couple of waste. Now, my experience is when work output moves from one function to second function, it produces huge waste because it waits there. And then every function works to make sure that his back is covered, that I did my job. Right, now you pick it up. You pick it up when you want it, but I did my job. I will move to next work. So my job is to create requirement document. Right, I will create one requirement document, I will throw it to you. I don't know what to do with that. That is your work. I will go to next requirement. I will create another document. I will write another specs. Move it here. Making sense to you? This is what we do. So what I am going to talk is actually fundamentally going to challenge the way you have been doing work. And hopefully by end of my talk, next time when you look at software development or especially product development, you look very differently. Because of what we are talking here. Now in a lean, the largest thing which we look at is how do we reduce this waste, and that improves the time to market. Because if you look at the top diagram, before we had X number of steps, and those gray areas is non-value work. Non-value, either the work output is waiting or someone is not working, it is just there. By the time a design is there in the queue, by the time someone picks up the design, maybe a customer has changed the requirement. Right, so the work with someone who has done the requirement gathering, writing the specs, or someone who has done the design of that artifact has no value, because customer has changed the requirement. Okay, so and we do all that. So the idea here is, after we have identified the value stream, we have mapped all the steps, then identify all the non-value added work inside that and start removing one by one. By doing that, what happens? We actually do, our time to market comes down because we don't do that waste work. Now this is a typical organization, right? You have some component team, then you have development, then you have some maintenance, some new products, then you have business owners, product managers. So this is how the organization is structured, right? And we work as a team. We work in that sphere. Now, when we work in that sphere, what do? We optimize for that. We don't optimize for the larger goal. We optimize for our team. So the idea here is how do we make sure the team, we take from team agility to the larger agility. Okay, we start increasing the circle, and this is a value stream, right? Everything is one value stream. Then everyone is aligned to make sure that value is delivered to customer. And we don't waste our time in doing handoffs and stuff like that. Now, I'll give you an example. Now, the moment you put together these teams, right? They have been working as an engineering team. A set of developers and testers, they're very happy. They come to work, they code, they test, very happy, go back. They feel very productive, right? Because what is the good works for a developer? I come in the morning, I have my design, I work, I test, no one disturbs me. I have no meetings, no one to talk to, my work output works, I'm happy. Making sense? But when you put now, we are talking about value stream. When you say in the same team, you have product owner, the guy who gives the requirement, you have engineer, you have tester, you have sales guy. If you have everyone, so everyone would feel that their productivity has come down. My experience says the moment you do this, everyone feels, previously I was okay, I was very happy, we were very highly productive, because as an engineer, I was looking at from coding from A to B. As a functional person, I was looking at, I met customer, I documented requirement, did a spec, my work is done. So I was very fast. But when we talk about, actually that small activity does not make too much a difference unless whatever I conceptualize goes through the end, customer gets it. Till the time there is no value. Because every function looks its silo and say I am doing only this, so I am happy. The moment you put everyone together and then say, now are you producing value together? Which is the idea, because as we discussed, we have to produce value to customer faster. I will talk about faster. Now, commonsensical, we understand why faster, but there is a science behind of how do we decide what to do. And as this I was talking about, we are very, we know we are doing team agility. My team is very agile. Right now we have multiple agile teams in the organizations, which works beautifully well. But when you scale, when you do different agile teams together, okay, then they don't work together. Which is what we are trying to get here is this: how these thousands of the words. Here I will show a beautiful video of this. How thousands of words work together. So we want to move from whatever team agility was, not able to move. Yeah. Just look at this. So there are thousands of birds, they are aligned for common mission. They are either looking for food or they are avoiding predator. So they are coordinated. Wind direction changes, everything changes. Now imagine how beautifully they are able to move together. So what if our organizations become something like this? This is what our aim is. How do we make sure that we become our larger enterprise start working like this? We'll talk about this. Can stop it. So anyone seen this? This is called murmuration. Anyone seen these birds? This is called murmuration. So when so when Vishal joined Infosys in the first week, he started this concept of murmuration. Okay, so that's the first time we saw that. Now and now I'm able to use this as a metaphor for business agility, because it symbolizes so correctly the kind of scale, the agility, the speed at which these birds fly. This is what we are looking for as product organization. So let's go to deep dive. Now we understand the value stream, we understand the waste. Now, how to make this happen? So, as I was talking about our fixation on utilization. Now, there are two concepts I will talk about, utilization and flow. Now, when we talk about speed, we are talking about flow. I will understand, I will make sure, flow would mean that how faster my work output moves from step A to step B. Now, let us say you are on a road. Now, you have to move from one end of the city to second end of the city. Okay, now there is a traffic on the road. There is amount of cars, traffic on the road. That is utilization. And there is the average speed at which vehicles are moving. But your aim is to move faster from one end to second end. Now, if you load road for 100% utilization, what is going to happen? You will get to deadlock. You will never move. Making sense? If you put the road to 100% utilization, you will not be able to move. But what is our aim here? Our aim here is speed. Because that work output which I started from the idea, the small feature, when that produced to cash is what I get money. But as a IT services pedigree, what do we do? What is the first thing comes to mind? Wherever there is a problem, what do we do? Add more people. Can you relate to that? Wherever we have issue, add more people. So adding more people, what happens? It masks the problem for longer time. Now, so point is, leaving the resource unutilization, is it waste? Any answer? So his question is, leaving the resource unutilized, is it a waste? But what are we looking for? So he says depend on the context. Now what is our aim here? Our aim is to have the speed. Is our aim to have utilization or our aim is to have speed? Our aim is speed. So if for the matter of speed, my utilization is lesser, do I mind? So within the context. Now, I'll give example of two countries. Now, I think in US, so there are two parameters. One is, what is the utilization of my path, right? Now, if my utilization 100%, we know it is going to come to standstill. Okay. Now, countries have figured out that what is the optimal utilization of a highway, beyond which if I load it, okay, it will slow everyone down. So some countries, they stop the traffic before getting into highway. They say my highway is, now let us say 80% utilized. Unless it comes down to 80%, I will not let anyone come in. Because even if you wait at the gate, you will reach faster. Because this is how this is optimized for the speed. So I will not let you get onto the highway. You have seen those, experienced those? No? But some countries have implemented that. Some countries implemented that the moment you get onto the highway, now please reduce your speed to X. You are running 80 miles. Now please don't run 80 miles, now run 40 miles. Because even if you run at 40 miles, you will reach faster. So actually, countries have in their traffic analysis, countries have done a lot of analysis to figure out, because at traffic, aim is very similar. I have to reach faster. And in our product development, we have a very similar aim, that the work output has to reach to the customer faster. So whatever it makes to reach faster is what we should do. Making sense? Now our typical response is utilization. Now if you go, there's a little law there. There's a lot of mathematical expression which we can use to figure out that what happens if I load my capacity. If I focus on utilization, I will optimize. I will not optimize on my flow. And here we are interested on actually how my work output moves from my idea to cash. Now look at this example. Now what is the goal? Goal is same thing I was saying, from here to the work output. Now this is what we do. This is if you look at now this example of this water out there. Okay, now there are various hurdles which water goes through. But what is how much water would go, which is the lowest pipe, right? Even though you are utilizing the water at this highest level, it has no value, because finally you are getting at the lowest point. So what is point in utilizing all this? Because finally anyway you are getting that. So look at this. If you make sure that you do the minimum, okay, then work to remove the bottleneck. It is visible that is the bottleneck now. I work on the bottleneck, move it up. What happens? I have more flow. I have faster. I have more water coming in. Then I go to next. So the moment I keep on removing the bottlenecks, I keep on improving my speed. So this is, you can relate to this. Now this is very similar thing what I am saying we should do in the product development. In product development, this is the idea. Our idea is not to create all the requirements, put into the batch and make sure someone does the design and someone does the testing, and by the time it reaches the customer, as he was saying, the customer says, I need the other one. And we have wasted 6 months in doing those 1000, but customer was looking for 1001. Not. There is another thing of queue length and wait time. Now, as we were discussing, now there is an inventory which is getting built in front of a development team, because the product management has been creating documents and it is putting out there. Okay, and these queues are not visible. And the amount of time the work output is waiting at the queue, we are not able to figure out, because it is hidden inside. So the kind of impact it has on the speed is humongous. Because if I have a queues in my organization, when I say queue is a similar queue, that I am doing a development. Now there is a huge queue in front of, I can do only 5, I can pick up only 5 to do the development, 5 design to development. But there are 10 out there which needs to be done. That is the queue. So there is a minimum queue required, but if I have 100 out there, the 100 first request comes, it goes to the queue, is bottom. And more longer it waits in a queue, right? So it becomes waste. By the time it is in a queue, it comes out. By the time I deliver that requirement to customer doesn't need it, because his requirement has changed, environment has changed, or something else has happened. Right? So the policy which I was talking about, that if we are able to get out of our existing scenario of the way we are doing development to this new mode of development, okay, we become much better product companies. I'll give you another example. Now, how do you visualize this? Now I have all this work. How do I visualize this? Where are the queues? Now this is called Kanban board. So you heard of this Kanban board? You heard of Kanban board, right? So you visualize all the stages on which your work output goes. For example, here you have input, then you have the feature development, then your test, then your acceptance, then output. Right? You have all the stages. Okay. Here you visualize your work, how your work goes from left to right. And what is our aim? Our aim is to make sure this moves faster on that side. That is our aim. Now to make this happen, what is another important point? Now if I have humongous requirement document out there versus if I have broken down the requirement into smaller pieces, I will have better flow. Now if you have to carry the huge rock from step A to step B versus if you have divided the rock into small pebbles, what is easy? Pebbles are easier. Okay, now you can compare that with what we do. We write humongous requirement document and then we develop on that. So in Agile, the way we create a backlog is you break down the requirement into smaller things, you create features and you work on the features. Because the idea there is to make sure that we make feature deliver faster. Because all the features don't have the same value. Some features are higher value, some features have lower value. And then I can visualize For example, if there are X number of, now this is my value stream, right? Now whoever is supposed to make this value happen is part of this team. They're looking at this. Now if there's a queue getting built up in front of test, obviously I am going to delay. What should we do? Should I from initial to done? So the width of each row is work in progress. How many things are work in progress? The moment you see this red line, nothing is happening here. Something is stuck. The moment something is stuck, so as a leadership we are supposed to make sure that we go there, we focus on that and move it out. You can make it as complicated as you can. The more steps you have, so when you implement this, now when you put everyone together, as I was giving an example, that everyone feels that they have become slow because their objectives have been very different, right? They have been, their functional knowledge has been very different, so their KPIs would have been very different. But in this way, when you put everyone together, you have to make sure that their KPIs are same. They are not measured on how many functional documents they produce. You don't measure testing on how many defects they find. You don't measure development on how fast they do. What do we measure on? We don't care who you do what. From left to right, go faster. It has to reach faster. So either you are a product manager, if it is stuck in testing, there is no value of your work if you write another requirement document. Better go and help the testing and make sure that testing feature moves faster. So we look at the organization and optimize for the larger goal. Otherwise, teams would optimize for their local optimizations. Any questions on value stream value? Making sense to you guys? Is it how much different this is from our current way of thinking? Today we look at larger documents, right? We have silos within the team, and then we optimize for what? We optimize for utilization. We don't optimize for speed. But if we have to become better product companies, we have to optimize for the speed.
So we move some of the resources from one department to another to clear the backlog there, so that overall flow is better. Now, will that be underutilization of the resource because he will not have that kind of technical ability to handle the place where we have some backlog, and we're clearing that out by moving resource from a different qualification or expertise?
So in Agile, typically you recommend that we make T-shaped professionals. It means I know one thing well, but I know three things not so well. The reason is that because if I know my development well, okay, I don't know product, I don't know the spec, I don't know testing, but when the need is there, I should go there and solve. Because if I keep on doing development, what I'm going to do? I will produce more waste. Because finally it is not going to see it will get blocked on the testing because testing will not test it. There is another, okay, so Peter Drucker said efficiency is doing things right and effectiveness is doing the right things. Now, there is the product, so in the Indian product companies, now I don't know how much product management, scientific knowledge we are able to bring in. Now what we do, for example, we were discussing that, whoever shouts gets his thing done. Okay, now is it the right thing to do? It is a matter of prioritization. How do we prioritize? Now typically either I am product management or whoever you are. So how do you take decisions? So many biases go in our mind when we take any decisions. Now in product development, when you take a decision that which feature to do, now you have 100 features to do. In 100 features, how do you decide which is the top feature? Which is number 2, number 3, how do you decide? We go with our knowledge, we go what we feel is right, we decide that. Isn't it? So Donald Rinson is a guru in flow product development. He's saying that while you may ignore economics will never ignore you. Right? So we will take decisions based on our biases, based on whatever we feel is right. If they are not economic based decisions, we are going to go get it wrong. Unfortunately, the knowledge of having economic framework for taking a prioritization decision, he believes 85% of the product companies don't understand this. They don't understand how these economics based decisions we need to take. It is not about revenue. Now, when we take a decision, now in software, in product, you have cycle time. So you have problem of multi-variants. If you change one variant, it impacts other variant. So you can't look at, you have cycle time, you have to deliver faster. If you actually decrease cycle time, it may increase the cost. Okay. So you have product cost, that is variable. You may not want to increase the cost beyond a point. Then you have development expense. Then you have product value, that is revenue. And then you have risk running. So in a typical prioritization, we are actually challenged with all these together. If you change one, this is called sensitivity analysis. If you change one, it has impact on other. So one of the most important or well-known prioritization method is based on the cost of delay. So he says, if you can quantify one thing, quantify cost of delay. What is cost of delay? Cost of delay is if I have 5 features, I have to prioritize. If I don't deliver any feature, what is cost to company? What is opportunity cost? What happens? So if we are able to prioritize all our backlog based on cost of delay, it is a recommended economic framework. Now, this example, let us say one feature out there is there, it takes 46 weeks to move. And now this is the guys who are doing it during a development, they have no idea of cost of delay. Right? They are developing a feature. But to business, let us say for every week, it is $200,000 opportunity cost which we are paying. And in 46 weeks, maybe opportunity cost the organization pays 8 million. Now, what if when I was developing this feature, or organization, whichever this team is, when they were developing this feature, if they knew that for that particular feature, the cost of delay is $8 million, maybe they could have done something differently. But as a developer or as a tester, you have no idea what is the cost of delay. So you do whatever, you optimize for something else. Now if in our product development process, we don't optimize for cost of delay, system will optimize for something else. It will optimize for utilization, it will optimize for something else. Now this is very, very crucial for we making decisions, because we are challenged always with set of priorities which not all we can fulfill. Another important thing is feedback cycle. Now, how often we take feedback? Now I was talking to someone, the basic fundamental of the way product got developed, okay, was wrong. But that company never validated it. Because when you are in the zone, you have been in a zone. When you get into zone, everything else, you look absolutely on the track. Nothing else matters. But then you miss getting the feedback. Now in the changing world, unless we start getting very, very regular feedback, we will not be able to do course correction. So the faster feedback cycle is very, very important. So there is a cycle of build, measure, learn. This is how you do it. How much time I have? Now this is very, very common example. Now this is a picture of plane landing. Now when plane is landing, you know the time, how many times you get the feedback to stay in the course. Very, very similarly, when we develop a product, we experiment. It is hypothesis. Because what was our assumption which invalidated? Customer doesn't know what he wants. Unless we produce, unless we show, unless we get feedback, we have issue. We may go totally in a wrong direction. So the faster feedback cycle is very, very important. Now most of the company now, I think Raman in last session also he was saying, right? We have an idea which is economical idea. Unless we have economical idea, startups are not going to work. So how do you validate our idea? Unless we have some validation, some forum where you can go back, talk to customer, get a feedback, we're going to have issue. Now so based on this decision making, what do we need to do? I am a startup, I experimented, I got a feedback. Either I stay on the course or I shift direction. This is another very, very important aspect which I personally feel that we lack. We may lack this because we may not have adequate community out there to validate it, because I have idea. Now I may not have customers, I am startup, I don't have customers to validate. Then what do I do? But if I don't validate, you may actually get in totally wrong direction. All the investment which we have put may not reap any benefit. So this feedback loop is for every, either I am doing a development. Now in Agile, you have a product owner. I do development, I show it to my product owner. I demo it to my product owner gives me the feedback, is it okay or not okay? It is not towards the end. So this faster feedback is very, very important for us to stay on course. Now, you would have heard of Eric Ries's lean startup. Right? This is what he says. Most technology startup fails not because technology doesn't work, because they are making something where there is no real market. The validation has not happened. Next very, very important point I want to talk about is engineering practices. Now, what are these engineering practices? Either it is regular testing, automated testing, or it is DevOps, continuous integration. All those kind of practices are so important that if we don't do it upfront, we will have huge cost when we do later. For example, when I am going to build 100,000 first feature, and if that 1,000 first feature requires only 2 lines to change, and if my base framework itself is not correct, I will have a quality problem. So when I move faster, I can't afford to have quality problems. So while we are building our software, we have to ensure that it is built right the first time. Keep on getting the feedback, keep on getting tested. This we talk about. So in summary, we talk about value streams, we talk about prioritization, we talk about faster feedback cycle, we talk about engineering practices. Now, all these are very, very important for us to move fast. So, my request is, let us make sure that when you look at the product development again, make sure we use the scientific thought process and let us build great companies and make whatever the third 3% is talking about, make it to much larger share. I think that's what I will say. Thanks a lot.
So I believe many of us are doing product development, and some of these strategies we can utilize. And I think one of the biggest things we have realized, at least I have realized, is always to focus on where the bottleneck is and to clear that bottleneck, because otherwise we are only developing things to dump them later. So let's take 3 questions from the audience. If you have faced any challenges, because lectures are great, we all give lectures all the time, but the idea over here and to get you assembled over here is to solve your problems. So if we can have a few questions from your side and we can give our advice there. Devin, please.
So the question is elaboration of engineering practices. Now, I may be totally wrong. My understanding is when I am developing a small product. Now, I'm much more focused on getting it out. Now, if I have to build a regression automation for this, typically you will say it is not that important right now. I will do it later. Okay. Regression automation means each time I build runs, okay, it tests the product automatically. Okay. Now, as and when product becomes larger, okay, now doing the automation at that point in time is going to become very costly. Because what if you do a small change and it breaks something else? So my request is that when we start building the products, we start taking care of these engineering practices right from the start. Either a DevOps pipe, it is daily build, multiple times I build, each time check-in build, deploying automatically, testing automatically, making sure my product is always shippable. I am talking about those kind of engineering practices. Because other things we have talked about. Now if we don't focus on quality, then it is going to cost us humongously. See, there is a concept, I think in last session someone talked about MVP. Okay. So when we create a product, we need to have idea of the minimum viable product. The moment we have a minimum viable product, we should actually, without building the castle on top of it, we should go and validate. The moment we have understanding that I have MVP now, it works, and then that is the right time to go and check without building further investment on this, because it may not take you anywhere, because maybe you have started the product 6 months back, and 6 months market has changed. Unless you go back and check this is MVP, before you invest more, you should go and check.
So we'll take one more question, please, before we can thank the...
See, generally, right way to do that is dollar value. That you saw that example. If I don't deliver this feature, what is the cost to my business? Okay, now example could be, now let us say a feature is there, it has 5 defects. Okay, I'm in a state where a feature is ready, it has 5 defects. So these 5 defects are going to take 2 weeks to fix it. Let us say, for example. But if I delay by 2 weeks, okay, I'm going to miss the launch, or I'm going to miss very, very important customer commitment. So what is the cost I will pay if I miss that? Okay, so it is, if you don't do something, what is the cost in dollar value you pay? But now, you have heard of SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework? Scaled Agile Framework. Have you heard of Scaled Agile Framework? SAFe. Scaled Agile Framework. Now, Scaled Agile Framework has reduced the complexity of using cost of delay. Okay, so basically, you say business value, you say risk reduction, and then you divide that with size of your feature, and you get a prioritization. Basically, we are looking for a economic based prioritization. Now, the best way is cost of delay in a dollar. If you can't do that, then use weighted short job first.
That's all the time we have today, because as we had discussed before this session, we would like to start and end the sessions in time to respect your time and our speakers' time also. So I have the great honor of giving a small memento to our speaker, Jasdeep. You've done a great. He's agitated our mind, I believe, and you'll take home some interesting ideas from here, and maybe get 1%, 2%, 5% improvement in your office work, and then of course we will remember him much more.